One, two. Hello. Maybe you could just move the, people can see the thing. Just give it a little swing. Yeah. Great. Here we are. And could we bring that up here more? That'd be great. Here we go. Merci beaucoup. So, let's turn this on. Here we are. Some lights are burned out over there, huh? The dark side. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is our last official day, and then we'll have Come As You Can, right? The rest to September. So let's let this little raga take us into awareness for a few minutes. So got everybody here and friends on the internet. So the last day of the semester, life in semesters forever. God. And by next week I will have the CEU credits out. I'll have them for people. CEUs. CEUs are quite incidental though while we're here, right? Hopefully. And we'll extend to each other as we always do. We'll extend to our friends on the internet. And a lot of people are not here, and some people are leaving soon, I think. Finland and other places going back home. We'll extend again. Amachi's coming also. I think July 7th and 8th. And then that Molam will be in Marbridges Falls at the same time. And I've asked Peter. Peter's going to come here for vacation on the 15th, July 15th. He'll be here at this seminar. And so we've been focusing on light. And it's also the day of the Guru that day, right? Guru Purnima, which is the chant from Guru Purnima. We're going to talk a bit about light and the cosmological configurations of the light as the planets and what that means energetically, huh? Because each planet is a configuration of the light, the elements as light, huh? And that'll be part of our little seminar that day. So we're going to focus in together, and I'm going to read just a little talk again, and we'll work experientially. And we've been doing something a little different the past month, right? Where I've been working more individually with people. And we always don't do that because the negative side is we all don't get a chance to work so much. But we'll start working with each other. But I've been trying to model, trying to model a particular way of working with the light itself, right? That's what we've been trying to do. So again, go back to a big initial understanding about this. The co-emergence of awareness is light, or what they call jaloux. It's a great statement, jaloux, the body of light. So being within awareness, let me extend to each other, extend to me, I'll give a better talk. Being within awareness as awareness. So being within awareness as awareness, and being with another who is within awareness, is the most powerful, skillful means to bring forth awareness within one's own self and within each other. And that's our basic method, isn't it? In this time. And really, two awarenesses are better than one. And just as, from a more scientific point of view, self-regulation can be enhanced by co-self-regulation on the bodily dimension. So many studies now. So self-illumination, this process of self-illumination, is a co-emergent process between and within companions. And we can call this, from my side, compassionate companions, huh? It's totally natural, the most natural of experiences. So the lucidity within one's own awareness, as one's own awareness, can experience the lucidity within the other's awareness as lucidity. So when I'm in the awareness state, there's mind and there's awareness. There's a difference. So when I'm in awareness, integrating my mind into that awareness, and experiencing lucidity of awareness, that lucidity, I can experience the lucidity within the awareness of the other. So it takes one to know one, basically. It takes one to know one. It is true, awareness awakens awareness, both in oneself and in others. So even as we suspend our mind a bit, the epoche, and we focus in, we start becoming aware of this awareness, it starts to wake up. It sort of wakes itself up. It wakes itself up in the different centers. Become more and more vivid, more intense, more awake. It is true, awareness awakens awareness both in oneself and the other. And this really is the secret of the tantras after you take all the extra junk away. The luminous energy within one's own body, the luminous energy within one's body can resonate to the luminous energy in the other's bodies, deepening the mutual embodiment of the light. Light is awareness, and awareness is light, Spacious radiance, awareness, spaciousness, openness, radiance, light, clarity. The attunement, this attunement to awareness within one's own body can bring forth the attunement of awareness within the body of the other. So Skip is going into awareness, and Elizabeth is going into awareness, and they're attuned to the awareness within their own body through that field going beyond their body as it become activated. And I'm sitting here, then my body begins to resonate with that same awareness. I'm waking up, which is true at this moment. Hello. The self-arising. So this attunement to awareness within one's own body can bring forth the attunement of awareness within the body of the other. But part of the key is desire. The desire to experience the world through this metaphor. The desire, right? The desire opens me. I can be very closed. Doors are shut, locked in. And so the self-arising, like the sea, the self-arising of the awareness field in oneself is resonant to the self-arising of awareness within the other's body. The self-arising of the energy, the chi, the shakti, can bring forth the self-arising within each other. Not only can it bring it forth, and it can bring forth the sustaining of the energy field within each other. So as we have a connection with each other, it's like I'm connecting on the internet right now. Some people there like Anne. As we connect, then the very connection begins to sustain the awareness within ourselves. First, we're awareness holders. And then as we learn to extend and resonate, then we start to feel ourselves in the fields, not just in my body. It's in front of me, it's around me, behind me. And as I experience that shared experience, that begins to sustain me without effort. That's why in our life, to feel that sustaining connection to people we know, who we are companions with, whether they know it or not, is extremely useful in this world. And that is why sustaining this awareness with the archetypical dimension, which we've been going into, because as we've been working with the light, right, we're going simply from the Nirmanakaya into Sambhogakaya realm, huh? We've been using more of a language of Sambhogakaya than the language of Nirmanakaya. I feel this, I feel that. No, I'm in this spaciousness. I'm in this energy. So the language that some of the people have been speaking these past weeks, right? And think of Skip's work with the energy, and you can think of Ann's work, and you can think of your work, Jan's work, and some of the other people working. Much of that language has not been strictly speaking psychological. It has been more energy and configurations of energy and space. Say yes if you know that. So that is where we're shifting to, okay? Because that's the most powerful. And even in the text, they speak about, I have one of the texts here where they speak about, oh, it's the Sambhogakaya of Nirmanakaya, and they're having little deities that symbolize that. So these different dimensions, right, as you work down or up the food chain, you'll start having blendings. Say, you guys follow what I mean by this? So that's where we're running. Or Carol's experience, huh? But to see it is to feel it, and to feel it, then we begin to own it, huh? That's why. So, sustaining. Sustaining it by yourself is not easy. That's why this is ultimately a relational undertaking. And the picture of Shiva sitting on a frozen mountaintop, a little thin, whatever, is perhaps not the best model. Because often he would come down from the mountaintop and he'd beat the shit out of his kid and his wife, right? Cuts off Whatchacom's head, you know? Not the best metaphor. An irritated guy. Little Ganesh, you know. But there are other aspects of Shiva that we love, right? Metaphors of awareness. Just metaphors. It is true, humanness is the manifestation of light and energy, and the openness of the great space of compassion. Humanness is the light. It is true, as Yangtang Rinpoche, the great Dzogchen master, suggests, that the great compassion is the capacity to extend the light into a person's present, into the presence, in the present moment, and extending this awareness into a person's presence as past, and then extending this awareness, this light, into a person's presence as the future. This extension not only brings forth the light of presence in the person, but in that very act, it brings forth the presence of light in oneself. And that's why this is co-emergent. This is a co-emergent process. The one thing you want to have confidence is it's co-emergent. It is not simply big dog to little dog. Whether it's lamas, people, yogis, it is a co-emergent process. Co-emergent. Timeless awareness manifesting in time. This is a co-emergent or co-relational process of the embodiment of primordial awareness. And this is possible for everyone. Jalu. If there's the desire, if there's desire, what happens without desire in this world? Nothing. 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 Desire built Baltimore. Desire built us. Dasein, for Heideggerian phenomenology, is not mind alone. It's not unlike Sems and Semde in Dzogchen, Enigma tradition. But rather, Dasein means there, being there, which is being there as openness. Dasein is having openness to openness itself. So Dasein is the openness of a human being to the openness of being itself, to being itself. The openness of awareness to primordial awareness itself. It is the light, open to the light. And this is the power of contemplation, and the power of contemplation within two people or more people. And this is how the Christian Gnostics understood the statement when Jesus would say, where two or more are gathered together in my name, there I am. That is moi. Same phenomena, right? Intersubjective, inside to inside. When we attune to the Guru within our own embodiment, we bring forth the attunement to the Guru in another. It's all very contagion. It's all very shared. So if if Skip and Elizabeth are attuned to the Guru, that self-revelation of process of awareness, that self-manifestation, and they're attuned to that, and I'm sitting in between them and I'm open, then I begin to feel the recollectedness of that manifesting in my own being, From that opening from darkness to luminosity, Guru, darkness to light, the light of awareness. That's why Dharma is not dogma. Some people think Dharma is dogma. Chuckle. Dharma is the unfolding of perception. It is the unfolding of perception in your life, however and wherever. If you're located in Dharma as dogma, your perceptions are going to be organized by your mind alone, and your brain is going to become densified. You will have a densified brain. And you will not have the translucidity of experience. And more often than not, it'll be located in your favorite superego. If you have two. Of course, you don't believe any of this, because all this is opinion, including dogma, right? So when we attune to the Guru within our own embodiment, we bring forth the attunement of the Guru in another. Gu, darkness, and Ru, light. Freud spoke about the same thing when he spoke about Eros and Thanatos, the life force, luminous life force, Thanatos, death, and how they wrestle together in our own bodies and in our cultures, Say yes if this is making some sense, This light infuses the mind and infuses the body. That's a really good thing. When this light infuses our mind and infuses our body, right? And as the light expands, it definitely infuses our mind and infuses our body. The channels, those little channels, and Skip was articulating them for us 2 weeks ago. The channels within the body, the chakras within the body, can resonate to the channels within the other embodiment. I'm going to feel Tom over there. I feel Anna, Carol, Jan, Elizabeth. I'm just using some tips. I've been using the regular people because the more we do this a person, trace begins, right? When I hold this with Carol, a trace is now there between me and Carol. And so that's why I've been doing a little repetition with the same people, because there's more of a trace, right? Traces, cumulative traces. When I'm holding with Jan right now, a trace, right? A trace. If I'm holding with Anna, a trace. Co-emergent. C'est moi and the other person. Holding. Skip. Trace. You want to feel the traces. Actually, the traces are the alike field being manifested. One more time. Say yes if you understand what I'm saying. It's all so close. It is totally close. So the light infuses the mind, infuses the body. The channels within the body, the chakras within the body can resonate to the channels within the other's embodiment. This intensification of the luminous energy is the process of embodiment of the light. That's why it's not always easy. Stretched, intensity. Learning to hold the intensity. Jalu, the body of light. This unfolding at times is intense, and it's the expansion of the energy as light. The chi, the shakti, is energy. It's felt as energy, but as it opens more and more, then we experience it as light. And it's just great hearing Mr. Ma, who's such a great master of Qigong, who articulates the chi as light, over and over, bringing and invoking the chi as the light. In the beginning, it's energy. As one becomes more skilled, open, then it's the light experiencing the light. And that's where we're at. Gazing So the embodiment of awareness is ultimately the embodiment of the light. That's why I would like everybody to read this book before we meet again in September. We'll meet again next week probably, but those who don't, The Rainbow Body and the Resurrection by Francis Dito. And it's really a study of the light and embodiment of the light, both in Dzogchen and through other traditions, and how there's a convergence in the 7th and 8th century when Dzogchen came into its fullness, and the same thing was happening in the other. It was happening in Kazmashevism, Abhinagunta, the guy's a really great historian, happening in some of the other traditions around it, It's not so isolated as we think it is. Yes, sir. Yes, I got them on the website. Fantastic. I have him on the website now, too. And it's really great. And he's going to come here in October. And I'm going to really try and work it out that he comes then and other times, because we're moving ahead with our little thing. We're moving into this frame, a little bit more expansive. So gazing within open, gazing within, as we gaze within, it is the gaze. We gaze within, whether our eyes are closed or not. Then this opens the possibility of gazing within, this great phrase, the lucidity of phenomena. So as I gaze within, as you gaze within, then the possibility, that potential of Dharmakaya opens up, where we can experience the lucidity of phenomena around us and within each other, right? And then non-duality arises, or the spaciousness non-duality arises, or the openness. And we'll go somewhat into the lights. There's a light that experiences the openness. There's a light that experiences lucidity. Whether that's all true or not, I don't know, but it's a metaphor that's useful. You guys together with this right now? Phenomena, and this is great Dzogchen, phenomena is lucidity unto itself. So under phenomena, here's phenomena, lucidity unto herself coming. So lucidity here, experiencing lucidity there, non-duality arises naturally. Wherever our minds are at, wherever our minds are at. And if we bring the mind in, then there's more of a cohesiveness, right? Because it's the mind itself that allows me to experience form, touch, and the awareness state is at the level of lucidity itself. Without no mind, it's just light. But you can get run over by buses, or you really need mind. Treko and Togo, these are the Dzogchen, one of the major Dzogchen methods. Treko simply means the spaciousness, opening up this experience, the space. Togo is opening up the radiance. They are quite connected. Togo, those things, spaciousness and radiance. I'm not getting too boring at this moment. And they can be simultaneously experienced. The purity of phenomena and the purity of the light. The openness of everything and anything as light. Luminous spaciousness. Not always easy to experience luminous spaciousness, Now, then that allows us to experience duality within non-duality, and within non-duality to experience duality. They go together like a horse and carriage, right? That's what humans are. Duality within non-duality, and non-duality with duality. Or as the Daikini said to Durjam Lingpa, you and I are indivisible. Phenomena is the expanse of the Dharmakaya, another very famous. So in the Enigma tradition, phenomena itself is the expanse of the Dharmakaya. This is the manifestation of the Dharmakaya. This is the manifestation of potential space. I'm in the sea, in this pure gnosis, knowingness as flesh. This dimension is fleshed. So when this started being understanding in the unfoldment, the hermeneutics of Tibetan Buddhism, when this was finally unfolded with the Gadaba Tantra, it began opening the door of pantheism. Everything has this divine dimension to it, Quite different than the beginning, That's why you guys are going to read those papers one day, right? Hopefully. Has anybody read those papers? You can't find it? You can't find the two of them? It's also on the website sometime. Yeah, American Academy on Transition. It's, yeah. One is on how to read a text, and the other is on St. Augustine. There. But I'd like you to read them if you guys don't mind, because it starts to bring out how this happens when you have a mind-awareness connection. That is the hermeneutic thing. If you're in mind alone, you're going to be fixated, and you think truth is fixated, right? If you're awareness alone, you might have a direct perception of the truth, but you're not going to be able to think it too much. Okay? Almost done. So phenomena is the expanse of the Dharmakaya, or sadhana, this practice, which is simply living within the potentiality of our circumstances, or living the potentiality of our real condition within our circumstances. That's why this always takes our circumstances just as it is. And sometimes our circumstances are like, at this present moment, Mars and Saturn in connection in Scorpio. So it's a lot of revolution taking place, and a lot of things falling down. You with me? And intensity, right? In mind alone, I'm in my mind alone. I'm dissociated from this world. I'm in my mind alone. None of this can be accomplished. Sam's my mind alone. And there's always confusion in Tibetan Buddhism because they're using mind two entirely different ways. And that really screws things up. And we'll go into that next week again, looking at Lama Lama Tarchan's talks. So mind here means thinking, feelings, and mind is my ego. And it's really good to have an ego. If you don't have an ego, someone's going to have to carry you in here, lay you down, and feed you intravenously. You with me? The ego is our mind, and it's great to have a mind. And ultimately, the mind is the manifestation of the light. But the mind is not the power of awareness itself. So in mind alone, none of this can be accomplished and none of this can be experienced. So the true hermeneutic is this awareness continuum being in oneness. So my mind and awareness are in oneness. It feels really good. And experiencing the mind and oneness continuum in this world. So to experience my mind and awareness in oneness, and to experience your mind and awareness in oneness, that brings forth rapture. When my mind and awareness is in oneness, and your mind and awareness is oneness, and we're holding that, then Sambhogakaya opens up, a rapturous state of communion, right? Most of this stuff I say is stolen. You do realize that, okay? This is a Lama Tarchan statement. The rapturous state. Now, it's quite a view. Now, what might be, what could be, and what might have been. Those are really sad statements, huh? What might be, what could be, and what might have been. There's a poem calls it The Saddest Words of Poem and Pen. What might be, what could be. And I'm saying that in this context. Or Swami Muktananda would always say, keep moving, and unfolding whatever and wherever. You can't always choose wherever, right? And you can't always choose whatever. You may think you can if you're Ayn Rand or someone else who's on the bipolar continuum. You with me? As we all are. We all have the bipolar continuum. Do you know that? It just has to be awoken. We're going to go into this somewhat too in the next couple of weeks. Okay, as we're talking about light, we're going to go into depression, the goo side, right? We're going to look at depression in terms of the light, and we're going to look at both analytic depression and what they call self-critical depression, and then we're going to look at bipolar. Because bipolar and yogic life can be very connected. once you understand bipolar, not simply in the DSM-5. You guys follow this? So this is where we're going in the summer, but we want to have this down a little bit more, okay? So, and then almost done here, and then I make this statement here. Out of the sublimation, this is a text we read before, out of the sublimation of the instinctual sexual energies, the embodiment of the body of light. Yeah. Without sublimation of the instinctual sexual energies, the embodiment of the body of light will not take place, Shalu. And actually, Skip will be working on that, how sublimation is necessary for the body of light to take place. It doesn't mean one doesn't have sexual experience. You have sexual experience like you have every other experience. You integrate everything into the light. But without sublimation, the power of transmission of the light cannot take place. Raise your hands if that's, we've been familiar with that somewhat, right? And there's 2 papers on that too. Now, almost done. And then we'll work experientially. Sorry to take so long. But I'm trying to relocate us again why we've been doing what we're doing. The translucidity of mind and the infusion of the awareness field. As you and I hold mind within our awareness field, we integrate it, right? We bring it in. The field illuminates the mind. Let's see if we can feel that right now. Let's have the field infuse our mind and illuminate our mind. And it brings forth the translucidity of the mind. Raise your hands if you know that. Raise your hands if you don't know that. Leave your hands down if you're sound asleep. Okay. Translucidity of thoughts. What does that mean? The translucidity of my thoughts. The translucidity of my affective states. The translucidity of sensation. That's a tantric moment when you're the translucidity of sensation. The translucidity of memory and the translucidity of fantasy. When you begin to experience your thought as light, huh? My thought is light. When you start to experience my feelings are light. The feelings are chi. The feelings are shakti. The feelings are light. They're not just energy. They're light. Sensation is light. Yum, yum. When you feel sensation as light, anybody ever feel sensation as light? Raise your hand if you have felt sensation as light. Yes. Yum, yum. Sexual experience is light. Flesh as light. This means seeing through thoughts. What? How can I gaze through a thought? How can I gaze through a thought? Can I gaze through a thought? Can I feel through an affective state? Can you feel through an affective state? Isn't that cool? Feeling through an affective state? Can you perceive through fantasy? That's not always easy. Perceiving through fantasy. Because fantasies are so precious to us. Fantasy. Perceiving through fantasy. So this brings forth the empty mind is light. Now an empty mind and a thought-free mind doesn't mean you don't have thoughts. Thought-free mind doesn't mean you don't have thoughts. In the truest sense, Dzogchen, thought-free mind means everything is arising, but I'm seeing through it, I'm feeling through it as light or as energy. Say yes if this is making sense to you, right? Sometimes if you read that guy's poetry over there on a good day, it's true. You read through it with your mind and your awareness state in oneness. And then you experience the transparency of what's being said. That is the hermeneutic game. This seeing through thoughts, feeling through affective states, perceiving through fantasy, this brings forth a state of empty mind as light. Sem days. You want to see through beliefs. Credo unum Deum. You want to see through that creed. The transparency of experience. Wow. Can Can I feel the transparency of my experience? Can I perceive the transparency of anger, worrisomeness, isolationness, unlovedness, deprivation? Can I see through annihilation anxiety? The translucidity of presence, the translucidity of phenomena. This does not mean things and forms do not exist. They're not a delusion or illusion. They're light. Whenever you see the word illusion in Buddhist texts, change the word to light and see what happens for you. Whenever you see that little word delusion, like deludedness, just put the word light there and see what happens to your state of mood and mind. So, we're going to move ahead now to doing a little bit of work again. Everybody okay with this? We're together? Asleep? So we're going to focus here again. We'll just do a little bit of work, and then we're going to be doing next week, we'll start working together where we're trying to work not at the level of being in mind alone, how you doing, or my mind talking to your mind, which is really great. And a lot of times in the work of therapy or relationship, it's our mind talking to each other's minds. And having some skill in that is really useful from one mind to talk to another. But my mind talking to your mind, or the different levels of your mind, that's not what this is about. That's not this. It's really good to have it. You want to have it? But it's not. This is something where we're going beyond my mind talking to your mind, and we're bringing in awareness and mind, and now we're going to awareness at the level of Sambhogakaya. So, go back. Anna, you there?
Yeah, hi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Great. We're going to do a little work today, a little demonstration. I hate that word. But I'm going to extend to you if you don't mind.
Sure.
And you can extend to me. And what I like work about Anna, because she's really not here in one way. Locally, she's not here. She's in California. But non-locally, we are entering into non-duality. Because non-duality is a non-local state. And Anna, how are you doing now?
Well, I'm feeling a lot of intensity today, and I have for the last week. So it's been a sort of intense time with lots of energy and light, but it's kind of been frazzled. So I'm still in that. It's like a high voltage going through me all the time. And it feels like I haven't got enough flesh or
Yes, yeah.
hold it.
Yeah, sometimes that's why it's really good to eat fats and sugar and things like that, really. You know, butters, because you want to have some of that rasa in your body. You need a little flesh occasionally. You with me? Because it's sort of like sometimes being cooked, you know.
Yeah, it does feel like being
And
cooked.
also, it's really useful to extend, because when you have a lot of this unfolding in you, so would you mind extending to me right now? Or I'm going to say another, would you mind leaning into me and coming into me? Like coming inside. That's a bit more personal. Extension and coming in brings into a more state of union. And what happens as you do that?
So as I do that, some of that intense light gets, it's almost like space opens up so that there's
More space.
yes, and a little bit of kind of luminous darkness that absorbs or holds the intensity.
Yes, that luminous darkness, which we call the dark mother, and it's the Tromanagmo, to use those metaphors. Or it's really useful because it holds it more in depth. You with me? Kind of it like consumes it in depth. The darkness of the light. You with me? And it consumes it, and then the power of extension opens up the space dimension also. So as you lean into, say, moi, there's more space, And then because you're working with the space radiance continuum a lot, right? Say yes if you guys are following this. So then it opens up to more space. And what's that like for you as you feel what's happening next for you right now as we do this?
So then it's like my lower body and the earth element becomes more active. And now I have a greater sense of being there in the room with all of you. So I can almost feel connected to all the bodies, and it's sort of creating I can feel the field more.
Yes, it's more of
fluidly.
yes, more of a feel fluid phenomena. Okay, this is Sambhogakaya talk, right? And then the earth element, because the elements are closer. You with me? And so sometimes, depending on the person's elements, there's a more groundedness taking place. You with me? Because all these different little elements are meeting through the mysterious conjunctio. It really is a meeting. It's not just the light. It's the elements of the light, with the green, the blue, the dark. You with me? That's why the light is not just clear light, as some would have us to think. It is the light of the rays. It is the light of the elements. Say yes if you guys are understanding this. How are you doing right now? And you're so helpful in your descriptions, because I try and translate it into.
Yeah, I'm still feeling the difference. So my nervous system is still frazzled, but it feels like my lower body and the earth element is widening still and coming in to hold it. But it also feels like there's more. It feels incredibly creative as the dark comes in. When it's just the intense light, it's almost like there's an element of fear there. So a lot of my energy gets caught up in being with that intensity, but as it widens, it feels so creative. Like
It is widened because, in fact, primordial awareness, the light, the dark mother, the Tromanabo, that metaphor, is dark light, luminous darkness. You with me? Which is pure creativity. Hermann Gunther, the great translator, would always call the Dharmakaya creativity. You with me? Dogmatize that and see what happens. Do you follow what I'm saying? It is pure creativity, creating everything and anything. So sometimes just with the fire element of the light, it can be open. That's why the relational component is really useful. How are you doing now at this moment?
yeah, now it feels settled, so I can feel the luminous light and the dark coming together, and it feels useful. I don't know how to like it can be used.
Now that is yes, that is a great word. That usefulness. Lama Tarjan was talking about that this past Saturday and the Saturday before that. And I don't think, were you on then by chance? No, so this is not, okay, this is better then. Because he used the word this, when the Dharmakaya arises, okay, when primordial awareness starts to move, and it's moving, and the Sambhogakaya starts to become manifest, he called it partaking. I'm touching Elizabeth. It's partaking. There's a partakingness. You with me? And we partake within each other, and we become useful. Now, unless Winnicott was also maybe reading this, but I don't think so. Oh, hi, good to see you, Olivia. So there's a usefulness. We start feeling the use of the object, to use Winnicott's great phrase, and that becomes a creativity that has a collaborative moment to it, naturally speaking. Hi.
And she came over just when that happened. She must have talked about partaking. It was useful. Using.
Yes, using, right? The use. We use each other all the time. I'm using you right now, and you're using me. And that mutual usingness, that is really the light in its best, right? We're using each other. Now we're going to pause again. Now we're going to just watch what happens next. And how are you doing now? What's happening now?
It feels like that intense light is turning into that soft, velvety fluid quality that I experienced most pronounced that time when I had coming together of intense fear of death and creativity. So out of that, something very soft opened, and it's a little bit like that, the resonance of that softness opening up.
Yes, I believe that softness that opens is described in the Dzogchen masters where the child leaps into the mother's lap. You with me? And that moment that takes place at the moment of death, you with me? Forget about a lot of the other stuff. At the moment of death, when you actually leap into that, you move into that, or like the mantra ah arising in the body, and you lean into that, you're leaning into that embrace, which is this luminous, dark, velvet state of embrace of pure love. And that deathless awareness is not just at the moment of death, but as we're all playing with this, then that moment of deathless awareness becomes more and more an aspect of our life. You with me? And so annihilation anxiety slowly dissolves. And how are you doing now, Anna?
It's becoming very settled and still and more translucent.
Could you mind pausing and describing the translucidity of that experience?
From the level of my body, it feels like I feel my form, but there's no density anywhere, so it's almost, I feel very defined, but at the same time very translucent.
Yes.
But it also feels like it extends. I can kind of see and feel through into space in this translucent
Yes.
way.
Yes. You feel through space into space, almost as space, and yet, most importantly, you have self-definition. You with me? And so there's this tension, there's a level that goes like this. One is self-definition, and the other is relatedness in the space. And when we lose self-definition, you're fucked. Excuse the language. That's not the right word, I guess. But when you lose self-definition in children, when you lose self-definition, okay, you can start to become amorphous. So that's why there's self-definition and non-duality at the same time. And when we go into depression, we're going to explore these two dynamics, relatedness and self-definition, in a constant, ongoing way. You follow what I'm saying here? Because you want to have self-definition in this world in a deeply related way. Sometimes we find ourselves just defining ourselves in self-definition in a non-related state, and that is not going to be a happy moment, okay? You guys doing okay with this? Or sometimes we're very related, but we have no self-definition. And then. So, but what I like about this, we can see how these practices are completely useful for happiness and well-being, influencing our psychology. They're not outside of psychology whatsoever. And so when people use the word spirituality, they take or supernatural allegosius, you know. They take the most natural light, you with me, and the light of the archetypical dimension coming through, and they make it something other than naturality. And this is just an opinion. You don't have to have these opinions. Everybody should have their own opinions. Don't let me define this for you. That's what happens, right? We're going to pause again. So we now, thank you, Anna. And now I'm going to work with Jan again for another few minutes. And next week we'll start working with each other. So now I'm going to extend to Jan. Do you feel me extending as we're doing this? Do you feel the extension? Elizabeth, do you feel the extension?
Yes.
Extension is a felt sense. Extension is a felt sense. So Jan, what's happening for you now?
I love that phrase that you used, rapturous communion.
It's a rapturous communion, and where the use of each other arises. Sambhogakaya dimension.
And I've been feeling that all morning. And
Yes.
I've never connected with Nityananda, and when I focused on that, it took me back to my Shakupai experience.
Yes.
And now it's just right there.
Now you just helped me a lot right now, and all of us, because when we take this way of relating, whether it's to Bhagavan Nityananda or to each other, as an endeavor, memory is a major method. So what I'm attempting to do now, as we're doing this, I hope we all remember this a little bit. Because if we remember it, what can happen? We can do it again. So if we remember, and as these little traces are being built, and some of you guys are connecting like we do to the experience, right? Who's actually feeling some of this right now simultaneously? So if you're experiencing it simultaneously, this is taking place in your memory. So your mind and awareness is getting, you're in the field, and so the learning isn't just these words that I'm blabbering around, right? Trying to do some pointing out stuff, but it's actually the experience. And so then this is now becoming memory. And so then there's more chance out of memory when I remember this or you remember this, that this can bring this into actuality, right? So memory is a key to this entire process. Memory and desire. Now, good old Bion would say at times in doing therapy, he would put memory and desire aside. Now, he can do that if he wants. I don't care. You with me? But I think having memory and desire for one's own self and for others is really useful in this world. You with me? Yes. I'm talking about the same thing again. And I believe it's lifetime after lifetime, these are light traces. You with me? And I think all this stuff is really traces that we are creating. You with me? But it's more in a field phenomena than in the regular language of causality. And it's not because of bad dog, or it's not because of reward and punishment that you find yourself in these realms. You with me? A lot of times we find ourselves in realms, to expand our repertoire. You with me? That you can feel liberation in pits of shit. You with me? And often in every place in this world, there's always a bodhisattva. In the sea of animals, there are bodhisattva animals that are there. In the sea of the prison camps in Dachau, there were enormous bodhisattvas there. You with me? And in our little room here, we have bodhisattvas who are each other. You with me? So understanding that, you with me, and freeing yourself from dogmatic thinking is really, really useful. Okay. How are you doing now? How are you doing right now? What's happening for you? In the past microphone. And next week, we'll all get into this next week. We're still doing the trace thing. We like to keep things unfolding. So what's happening for you?
Just been really listening today, and but feeling a lot going on as well. I've been feeling really blissful today and really connected. And then I felt that a lot when I was sitting in here in the beginning of the seminar today. And then it sort of shifted into more of a serious feeling, which is not bad. I was also working on gazing, which is what you're talking about. Generally, I feel like I can go into the field more easily with my eyes closed. Today, though, I feel like gazing with my eyes open is actually more helpful, because then I can really feel what you're talking about. I feel the field behind me and around me, and then I feel this sort of sense of being enveloped and weightless. It's like a hug.
Yeah, it's like a hug.
Oh, yeah.
You actually feel this embrace.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you feel the field around you
Mm-hmm.
and behind you, and you feel this envelope, this, I always trouble with this word, S-P-H-E-R-E.
Sphere.
You feel this sphere,
Yeah.
and then you start walking, and this sphere is around you, and then you start seeing through it, and then you actually feel the embrace. And I believe or know that embrace at times actually dimensions of beings,
Mhm.
with me, of beings who are archetypical realms.
Mhm.
But it's someone like a person who is a human being, like Bhagavan Nityananda, coming towards you from God knows how, but arises,
Mhm.
or sometimes people may feel like activity, or yogic beings, or Hope Mary, Divine Mother who comes. These dimensions come forward. You with me? And just like nature is also being, nature is a being itself. So this whole world is anima mundi, beings. This whole thing of
Mhm.
beings, which are actually who's. All of these who's.
Mhm.
Who doesn't mean necessary that you had a mother and a father. They have to be a who. But who is knowingness itself.
Mhm.
It's okay with you?
Yeah.
What's it like to feel this power emerging in your body right now? Maybe your lower body too.
I feel such a sense of freedom in general. I was thinking as you've been talking, just how much I've changed and how much more compassion I have available to me,
Yeah.
like at all times, and how much easier it is to divorce myself from my mind and to be able to be in myself, to feel embodied, and then also to be connected at the same time, which is that relatable, you're saying relating, and also self-definition, which I used to have a lot of trouble with. And I feel like we've been working on that so much, and just being able to feel that self-definition and also the spaciousness of the field and being able to relate out is ridiculously freeing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who are very talented and they come into the world with a lot of open perception, they're so open that they haven't used the function of self-definition enough. You with me? So either others define them, but the power of self-definition, which is actually the power, what they call in Shaivism, the Ikta Shakti. And the Ikta Shakti is the power of the will, the power of self-definition. And to have the power of will and the power of self-definition combines this, that it's extremely usable. You with me? But that's why you have to be very careful about understandings where you don't have any will, or you surrender your will to this one or that one. You with me? And to think that way, you can become a fool. You with me? I'm not talking about you personally. And then you can be without will, and then you wonder. And Namke Norbu also talks a lot about this, how people think they have to give up will to become what they are. Then there's a certain way you want your will attuned. You want an attuned will, but self-definition. Really useful. We're almost done. Hope you guys doing okay over there? Let me ask a new person because we've been around. Steve, how are you doing today? We're extending our range, okay? What's happening for you at this moment? Would you mind feeling me sitting over here, though, if you don't mind? And I'm kind of, we're all going to feel each other and all this stuff and connect, because two awarenesses are better than one. Maybe feel Skip or some other people here, too. What's happening?
Today has been a whole process of expanding out, but also becoming more and more self-defined, having both of them together.
Wow.
And it's been great. It's been very,
man.
but it's very it's very palpable. I mean, it's not just a concept. It's not a floating concept. And I'm not just floating through the day.
It's palpable. That word takes us beyond belief and gullibility. Palpable. What's it like to feel the palpable self-definition and the great expanse?
It's fleshy and juicy, and um, and also very on some level it's there's a confidence.
Confidere, yes. There's confidence. What's it like to experience that confidence arising in your body naturally? Which is actually, what you call it, Gabriel? No doubt. There's no doubt. What's it like to have that confidence?
It's so funny when you say that, because what I'm experiencing is going out and out and out, and I have to go, okay, self-definition too. I have to. It's a balance, but there is some amount of focus involved in it.
Yes, it is not simply open, unbound focus. There is
Right.
some focusing to it. And there's focusing on who? You.
Well,
Or maybe not.
yes, but not exactly. Not me as me. Well, there's focusing on me as a subjective presence.
Perfect. What's it like? Yes, not on your personality.
Right.
What's it like focusing on yourself as subjective presence, which is another word for awareness? What's it like focusing on yourself as subjective presence?
Right now, it feels like I'm not good with botany, but it feels like some sort of flower where the whole field is there, and there's something in the center of it, and it just
Focus there.
and the leaves, the whole part of the blossom is getting bigger and bigger, and I'm in the center of it, but I have a physical presence in the center of it.
What's it like knowing that you actually have a physical presence in the center of everything and anything?
It's inevitable.
It has to be inevitable, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
What's it like knowing it has to be inevitable? If you throw the word narcissism around, some of you don't quite know what that is. But this is a healthy statement, let's say. It's a realistic statement. Are you happy right now?
Very.
What's it like to feel the happiness of unfolding?
The happiness of unfoldment, it includes everybody else, and that keeps me present.
Well said. So he's actually speaking non-dualistically at this moment, not within dualism. The unfoldment of everyone else keeps me present at this moment. In this state, Beautiful, totally cool, totally cool. We're going to hang out for a moment. What is the wonder of all wonders? Pure awareness. Subjectivity is the doorway. Subjectivity is the doorway. Husserl's most famous statement. He said every time he spoke. Embodiment. Thank you, Steve. I'm going to pass my back this way. So we're going to think for a moment what we've heard said so far. But it's not really regular psychology, is it? It's not. It's subjective, but it's not to be our personality stuff, you with me? Which is totally valid and viable, because we also have personality. We're going to hang out. I'm going to refer to the work you did last week. Mimi's. Now, Mimi's description was really elegant, right? And she was describing, first of all, a feeling. But that feeling she was describing is more than an affect, you with me? It was a particular way of being in the world, you with me? She was describing not the self as awareness, but, and this is why the ego is not a bad word, you with me? She was describing herself in the world, and sometimes that was a self that was actually living in the world, and certain things took place that she could not experience lovableness, right? And so there was a rising again, right? And this is a great place for this to arise, since it's filled with the awareness state. So part of what will happen for all of us is particular modes of being in the world, right? Particular ways we were in the world will arise, you with me, naturally speaking, to be liberated in the field. You with me? So and the degree that we can articulate what that is, that's why speech is really useful. The degree that we can articulate the nuances of this, whether we're alone or with others, allows this to become into an explicitness that it can be experienced within the field, which metabolizes it slowly but surely. And it metabolizes it actually at the underlying level of the Sambhogakaya realm of the elements. You with me? So then, as we articulate that, it's a rising upward, right? It rises up, and then suddenly we're in that mode again. You with me? And if you're in that mode again and you're holding it in the awareness state simultaneously as you're experiencing it, and others are holding it with you, that's why we think two awarenesses are better than one, and a group is even better, then as that's coming up, it is being metabolized and becoming what it is, which is simply the elements of awareness itself. It's like going back down the food chain, to use that metaphor. Say yes if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So it will rise up, and I ask you to consider mantra. Now, mantra, for a lot of people, is simply a security device. It's sort of like, help me, man, be good to me. But it's a mental statement. It's like, 6 and 6 is 12 when you're scared. 6 and 6 is 12. Yes, it is. I mean, you're counting sheep or something. It has a mental quality that can give security, right? But that's not the magic. That's not the real power. When you actually do mantra and you practice mantra, the power of mantra isn't what's mental in my mind. The power of mantra is it's invocating. It's a shamanistic invocation. It is an invocation of what? It goes beyond it goes into the energy. It goes down and begins invoking the pulsation. It begins invoking the vibration. It begins invoking the field starts to arise up in me. And then out of that invocation, the field begins to metabolize that mode of being in the world. That's called self-liberation. You with me? Now, psychology-wise, we can do a lot of other things too, which is really great. But to be doing these other things, but to feel the power of mantra, the matrayana, to feel the power of these vibrations arising, the energy. So if you're energy sensitive, and sometimes you're energy sensitive, you don't have to use a mantra, because the energy itself is the mantra. So the mantra begins to arise in your body, Om Hung Swaha. You with me? And you feel that swaha means that the freedom of letting it go. Because no matter what we have, it is an addiction on the biological sense. It's biologized. You with me? So whenever we're having to release something, we're having to feel the capacity, that power of releasement, right? The power of letting it go. And that does take some desire and decision making to have this energy. So this energy arises and starts to dissolve the energy of that modality that I lived in for a while. Say yes if you guys are following. That's why doing mantra is really, really so. How are you doing today? What's happening?
Ever since last week, I have to say that after last week, it was almost like my mind was being reconfigured.
So after last week, yeah, you could say your mind felt being reconfigured. That's a good way of saying it. There's a reconfiguration of our mind.
Yeah, it just felt, I felt, I'm going to use the words odd, different.
Mm-hmm. Odd is a good word.
Yet I felt as though that old belief that was concretized became less concretized and more fluid.
it of the intensity and holding it in that insufferable, I use that in a word, insufferable intensity, which Anna was also hearing. That light begins to deconcretize the sense of that particular view of the world. It starts to deconstruct it. It starts to metabolize it, to digest it,
Mhm.
like a fire. But
Yeah.
you have to suffer it. You have to hold that state in the fire of awareness. And more often than not, it's really good to hold it with another person because true awareness is better than one.
Oh, I remember something that you said a long time ago that was so useful, and that was you need to sit in it. You know, you just need to be with it. And so I remember that whenever I'm in that state, because I think that my predisposition would be to run,
To run.
to leave, to run,
Out
to
of
to
here.
to discharge
No, thank you. Let me go discharge.
in whatever way, whatever, whether it's eating or whatever.
Number one, our favorite.
Mhm.
That's most helpful. So sitting with it, staying with it, suffering, it's like suffering it. And that word I don't mean in the masochistic sense, but in the sense of staying with it and experiencing it. And at times, that's why the morning meditation that you guys do, you with me? And someone leads it and everybody's holding it, that field is really strong, and it's a really good time for you to hold certain modes of being in the world, you with me, that you came through, you with me, in a valid way, you with me, that you came through it. And also, you hold it there, and you will feel as if you're being cooked and smoked, and it will dissolve. That is what dissolving is. And one of America's favorite is being a victim for all of us. You with me? Any bad state will have a victim quality to it. That's why you have to bring up victim states. You're a victim of some kind, and you hold the victim state in order to dissolve it. But you're going to feel bad because you feel like you're abandoning the victim, right? You're going to feel, oh my God, I'm giving up on so-and-so. Little so-and-so, you will hold that element in the fire of light, and that will liberate it. You're liberating that state of mind. You with me? You have compassion for yourself as a child. You have compassion for the things you go through. But it's like, do you ever move from a house and not want to leave the house? You have to sort of get permission from the house to go. It's time to go. I've got to go. I want to go. You do the same thing. You respect the state, and yet you're liberating the state itself. Say yes if you guys are following.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
what I was experiencing. Well, and my head feels different. Like, I think there's also sometimes there's the how do I say this? There's the attachment to the habituated state, whatever it is. The mind, there's a habitual, and it's concretized, and it's like you said about fantasy. Oh, yum yum, warm fuzzy, because that is what one can attach to when they don't know the field or they can't get to the field.
Yes. Also, whatever we're attached to release that is terrifying.
Right.
Because we will again face a void state, arising, and that is terrifying.
Well, yes, there's the void state, and the more, it's like when we talk about that dualistic state, it's like the intensity of holding that victim and the mindset and whatever associated with that victim, and then bringing light together. The intensity of both coming together is that which creates I'm not sure if this is the right word, like a conflagration. So it's like, and then it just goes,
That creates the alchemical.
and it's gone.
So pass the mic back. Thank you. So let's create a geometry right now, okay? we're through with our little modeling. And so we're going to create a little, maybe we'll set up, maybe someone can sit there. Let's bring the camera in the thing in the middle, or not in the middle, but right over here. Part of the little group, and then Carol can sit there, and Tom can sit there, and somebody can sit there. We'll hold awareness together with each other. Hope everybody. I'd like everybody else, if you wouldn't mind writing me a little note. Someone sent me a note today. I was so happy. If you wouldn't mind sending me a little note about what you got from this year's seminar, if anything. You with me? I really mean it, if anything. Because if you got something, you want to know what it is. And if you didn't get anything, then you might say, what am I doing here? You know, it's a nice group of people, but geez and Pete's. You know what I mean? I'm totally serious with that. You want to feel the feeling of movement. And if you don't have the experience of movement, then it's really good to get going. I really, whatever situation you're in, if there's no movement for you, you with me? There might be movement for her, but there might not be movement for you. In order to keep moving, you may have to keep moving. But if there's movement, then it may be worthwhile to come back, even next week. But if there's no movement, and there hasn't been movement for 2 years, then you are waiting for Godot. I mean this in a most really useful sense. It doesn't mean whoever you are, you have to think, wait a minute. If there's no movement here, and nothing's happening here for me, then why am I here? Oh, I like Skip. Oh, I like Carol. Well, go out to dinner with them. You with me?
You can even stay in the seminar and take you out.
But you want to require movement. You want to require movement. And in my own life, I always require movement with whoever my teacher is. I like to keep moving. Swami Muktananda said you will meet many great teachers in your life. He told me that one time. I was so happy to hear that. You know, I wasn't happy because I only wanted him as my teacher, but also meeting great teachers, whoever they might be, in whatever forms they might be, is really useful. So you have to be careful being attached to someone who's your teacher. You with me? It doesn't mean we don't have affection for each other, but you want to think, am I still moving here? And if you're not, what does this mean? And do I feel that creativity? You with me? Do I feel that creativity in myself or here? Then it's useful. This is not dogma. Dharma can never be dogmatized. As soon as Dharma is made a dogma, you're in a kind of a religious cult, no matter how big it is. Yes? You want to say something?
And the movement to the point where the self is the guru.
The self is the guru.
Correspond to any other.
Yes, yes. When you know the self is your guru,
Yes, that's why the self-definition is so important. I'm so excited about it. So filled with
yeah. And then you can feel the guru being mirrored around you, mirrored around you, and it's mirrored around you. You with me? Yeah. And it's mirrored around you in a co-emergent process. And that's the essence is co-emergence. Okay? So with that, yes, please.
The other thought I'm having is that really a true teacher won't let you. They won't let you. That's been my experience.
That's been my experience too.
They
With
won't let you.
my first meeting with Swami
If
Muktananda
everything dissolves,
was
they won't let you
was
until you
was
find
yes,
that.
till you find that within yourself. A true guru will constantly challenge you, sometimes politely, sometimes not so politely, viciously. What? But directly. Then you know you're dealing with someone who has your interest at heart. You with me? And doesn't have to carry that locus on their mind that they're the guru. You with me? For whatever psychological reasons or financial reasons.
realized when
It's the truth.
you and I and Patricia were up and we were talking about it, and I realized it never even crosses your mind that it's you.
If that would cross its mind that it's me, then I haven't learned anything yet. And that's why to hold this is empowering for us. It's also empowering in our work with people. It doesn't mean you don't confront situations either, you with me. It doesn't mean, but you really want to know that. Because then when we know that, then we know the guru is in every place. And that's what, and then there's confidere arises from that. So with this, let's focus the light on our friends on the internet, Kathy and the other people. And let's focus our light on Tom. And Tom, you mind just saying your name?
Tom.
And then we'll move to the next person. Over there, your name? Amy. And it's really great to claim our name. Amy. Next person. Kay. And next person. Jen. And next person. Patricia. And next person right in front of Patricia. Kate. And next person. Me. And next person.
Steve.
And next person. Okay. And next person. And next person. And next person. Barbara. And next person. Visitor. Great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. This has been very enjoyable.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you guys for all letting me do that.
Great. And next person. Who? Go, great. Where are you at? Oh, there you are. I can't see you. The visible, invisible becomes visible. Great. Thank you. And then someone else? Fran. Great. Thank you. Liz. Great. Thank you. And
Elizabeth.
great. Everybody? You like get everybody? Did I miss anybody?
No.
Okay, great. Heidi. Thank you.
Carol. Marla. Janie.
Thank you, Janie.
Judy.
Judy.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Muriel.
Yes.
Jan.
No, a lot of people aren't here today, right? Oh, did we miss someone? Oh, yes. Thank you. Kathy? Your name?
Unmute.
Okay.
Get on mute.
Kathy? And yes. Tom? What's your name?
John.
John. Thank you. Glad. Great. Welcome. And somebody else? Dan? Great. And there's one other person there. Who's that person? I can't see.
Voodoo.
Okay, Hoodoo. Great. We'll send the energy to her. Anybody else missing right now? Some other people? Patricia's not here. She's been sick. Let's extend to Patricia. A lot to Patricia. Lorette was, okay, and Lorette. And Dawn. Juliet. Karen's here. Karen, she left. She left. Karen. She was sick. Was she okay? Robin. Nancy. Chris. Astrid. Yes. Karen. Great.
And can we extend to Astrid's daughter?
Let's extend to Astrid's daughter today.
Rudy.
Rudy. Great. Aaron. Tanya. Jeff, yeah, Jeff is the thing. Diana, great. Marilyn. Helen. Alex. Dominique. Okay. What time is it? We still have more time. So maybe somebody can sit in the middle. Would someone like to sit in the middle?
Chris, too.
Chris. We should extend to Chris.
And I'd like to sit in the middle.
No, please. Well, let's extend to all our great teachers. Let's extend to all the teachers in Lama Norla, Kagyu Master, Lama Torchen, Nyingma Master, Rinjin Dorje. Who we miss? Lama Wandor Solpema Master. Kungzen Dechen Lipa, huh? Who brought so much here. Nam Ke Norbo. Tinli Norbo. Toshi Rinpoche. Yangtang Rinpoche. Dalai Lama. Amachi. Karamapa. Kalu Rinpoche. Taisi to Rinpoche. Rinjin Dorje. Tumtsin Khalsen, one of the first lamas who came here. Garshin Rinpoche and Yanchen, who we love a lot. Tanya. Lama Tarchin. Mr. Ma. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Ma here. Kempo brothers, Padmasambhava brothers. Sharon, who's definitely here. Sharon and I have been meditating together for 40 years. We've known each other, but every day for 40 years. 40 years. Cool.
Rudy, I'd like to extend to the Sabri brothers who
Yes, one was killed by the Taliban, yes. Let's focus on them, who we love them so much. And many, many Sufis are being murdered by the Taliban. Many of the Sufis are, they have the Orthodox on one side, and they have these terrorists on the other side, and they're just being... And a lot of the early Christian traditions that remained in Syria, so a lot of early Christian traditions were in Syria, and they remained untouched for thousands of years. They're all being wiped out also. So you have these really ancient... So there's great, not only suffering, but a loss of understanding. And to the Kabbalah, who we love, and Kabbalah masters. Baba, root teacher, Guru Purnamade. We say with Baba Nityananda, Yogananda Paramahansa, Mary, and what's his name? Right up there at the top. He no, that's Sai Baba's over there, but this is Ramakrishna, right? And he incarnated himself in all the different traditions. So here we are, hanging out. Who? Juan de Deos, yes. We'll focus on him. Juan. So we've been very lucky, huh? All these great yogis and coming for little visits. And that way we become universal people. Then we extend to Elizabeth. And we extend to her purpose and aspirations while she's sitting here in the morning right now. And we extend to all our families and friends we know and love, both who are alive and who have passed on. By passed on, I mean they've just moved next door to, it's all so close. That's why extending to the people who have died is really, really useful. Extending the light. Because a lot of people don't have our resources, right? A lot of people don't have our resources. We have a lot of resources. Not me, but we have a lot of resources, a lot of traditions. So we extend, want those traditions to, those lineages to the lineages of the personal side to come through your body and extend to the people. That they can feel the light. And sometimes after death, when people aren't in such terrible circumstances, including their own mind, like they're in life, they're more open to becoming self-liberated. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of this stuff, the human superego is irrepressible. And it's always projected in religion to life after death, right? And you'll see it. Even the Citro teachings were created like in the term of the Citro teachings came in the 17th century. You know the Citro teachings, right? Doesn't mean it's not powerful mantras, but it's a metaphor how one person experiences this stuff. You can believe it if you want to. But the 17th century, that's when those terms were released. You know, all those different steps, you know? If it fits for you, great.
Would you like us to also extend to all the people who have been lost to our own members here, wives and husbands?
Absolutely, we're doing that right now. When we focus, anytime we focus on people that are dead, that's exactly what we're doing. We're focusing on all those people and people we love and know. And that's why we always focus on ancestors in the beginning, right? And that it's the same thing. It's the same mutual co-emergent period. So people after death are also co-emerging, right?
I'd also like to extend to people who have been part of this group over the years.
That sounds great.
Especially Deb Kolodny, who has brought
Oh,
so
much
light
and
to
light.
continues
And she continues. She's such a great rabbi, and she's a great person. Extend to her. And many other people have been here over these years.
Also extend to my book.
To your book. Let's put the title out there. What's the title?
Creating peace inside and out, cultivating heart-centered living.
I love it. Yes, beautiful. We're going to focus on the book and all the operations that go into that book, the political, financial, and that comes into really good publication. Extending from the heart into that. So this capacity of extending the light, which is the great compassion.
I'd like to extend to Pete and his family.
Great. Thank you. And Pete's coming here on 15th, July 20th, which Guru Purnima Day, and he's going to talk about the cosmology of light, which is how we live in the light on the cosmological point of view. And what that means is these different energies are circulating around us. You with me? And some to bring us into life, and some to move us into the next realm. It also brings to mind too, so we have 2 more minutes. We're really going to want everybody to start writing if they want to, and there's going to be 2 ways we're doing this. So some people are writing poetry and personal experiences, and you're going to send your papers to Elizabeth, okay? And Elizabeth is going to go over them, check them out, and then we can either other people. And we're not going to kill ourselves with editing. You with me? Because we don't really care too much. You with me? If anybody reads it or not. You with me? We don't suffer this too much. You with me? And then number 2, I'm writing stuff. I'm only 3.5 years behind now. I've got tons of stuff, but I would like some people who could edit it with me. And you could put yourself as the editor. But an editor means simply looking at spell check, which I still don't know how to do. Great, that'd be really great. And then also if something obscene is there, or I'm making these terrible comments about Buddhism or people like that, you know, or whoever I make comments about, it's just really a little bit of Trump in me, right? So So you can take out some of those nasty statements, huh?
You asked for help.
Yes, I need a little help. Help me, help me. I like it. So you would have great, but I know you guys are busy, but I don't want anybody killing themselves about it. You with me? It's like, okay, look at it, it's straight enough, take a few comments out, and that's it. You with me? And then we'd like to start having some volumes, because people who actually read this stuff, and I'm really, the personal experiences that you guys have are intrinsic to this. So to write some of that, even today's experiences, right? Because when a person speaks experience, then what has been said actually is palpable. When it's just being said, blah, 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 but when you hear that experience, then you know it inside your own body. You experience the truth that Steve was elaborating, processing. And he was processing it not in mind alone. That's why we don't care about mind comments. But his mind's in his body. And it's the same thing with everyone else who spoke. And they have this process unfolding. And you could just feel it in Muriel describing her experience in such an articulate way. And then as she describes her experience, then something comes out that's really useful for all of us, right? Wait a minute. This definition in space. Wait a second, huh? Right? Then we know that the guru is the field itself coming through all of us. But it takes your desire to step forward. You want to know what your desire is to be free and liberated. Self-liberation, you can believe all kinds of things, but belief in dogma doesn't really free anyone. You know who says that? Longchenpa. All the great Dzogchen masters say you can believe in all this stuff, it doesn't mean, it's not self. And you can even just believe in being a good person, but self-liberation is a particular process you want to take to yourself to be free. A-okay? Does this make sense? Yes? Huh? I'm not having this Saturday, okay? And also, if you to do this Saturday, a lot of people are being busy, and I don't know if I'm just doing it by myself, and sometimes. So what I'd like to do, if you guys Twitter, it's easy. Just go to the website, press the little thing that looks like a little bird, and you put your email, you put your thing there, and you can sign on for Twitter. That's all you need to do. You don't need.
On your website?
On my website, there's a little
That's
Twitter.
how we get to you?
Get to me. You go to my website.
It's 10 Rudy Bauer.
Okay, no, forget about that. Go to the little website. There's a little Twitter bird.
Okay.
Press that.
Okay. Oh,
And then I still have to learn how to send it, but I can send it out to you guys.
Okay.
And everything comes to people through in Twitter. Every talk, all this stuff comes out in Twitter. And then I will send, I'm going to be here this morning, but I'm going to be, tomorrow morning I'll be here, so I'll say, but I'm just going to do a text. Are you with me? I may wind up doing text because I'd like to wait to get back to everybody can come on and hear these great talks by Lama Torcha. Yeah, we will practice a text together. I'm not going to be doing Lama Torchen so much because I would rather everybody hear Lama Torchen. You with me? And I'll start that back in September because his talk on the, because he creates he's actually creative. You with me? He's not dogmatic. He's creating as he's talking with me, and he loves his teachers, but he is creative action himself. Sambhogakaya, this partaking of each other, this arising, this you with me? But yeah, that's there. That's why we're not doing Lama Torchen right now. I don't really just want a few of us to do it. You with me? I don't care if no one does it, but we're going to wait till September. And then we do practices before that.
Mr. Ma here next week?
Yes, Mr. Ma will be coming here the whole summer. I think he'll be coming here. So let's extend one more time. Thank you, guys. If you come, and if you want to pay for the whole time, I will have to do the same thing. I always write how many times I think I'm going to be here. If you want to pay for the whole time, great. And if you just want to pay week by week, pay week by week. But you can do it any way you want to. It's simply easy if you pay one time. If you can do that, that's great. If not, we'll just pay week by week.
If you know you're not going to be
I'm going to
here
put
a
this.
specific week,
I
could
will-
you say what that date is?
Okay, I will. Oh, that's a good idea. I will put the dates down that will be here. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Great.
So,
Yes.
Judy, I'd like to ask you something.
Yes.
Everybody here, I believe, is on the listserv.
Yes.
Yahoo group. So one of the things I've been working towards is helping everybody recognize it is a resource for everyone. And for instance, there have been a lot of people asking, what are the readings? What are the books that you suggested?
Great.
If someone would like to, and it doesn't have to be the same person every time, but if you find yourself wondering about what's that book, what's that article, and you get the answer, it would be an enormous help to me and everybody else if you would just simply say, oh, if I want to know that, other people might want to know that, and just post it on the list.
That would be great. And I don't want to burden you with too many books, okay? But this particular book is extremely readable. It's also historical. That's why, and this, I always say this, we're learning awareness for the sake of awareness. We're not learning Buddhism for the sake of Buddhism, but for the sake of awareness. We're not learning Shaivism for the sake of Shaivism, but for the sake of awareness. We're not learning Winnicott for the sake of Winnicott. We're learning for the sake of awareness. Our only interest is awareness here. You with me? But actually, when you start studying this stuff, if you don't have a sense of the history of the unfolding of knowledge, you are going to be a person who believes stuff that never existed, except what's being told to you in a catechism way in order to shape masses. M-A-S-S. To shape people.
You were such a master at really doing that unfolding and making us aware of those currents.
Yes. To me, that is part of learning. That's why history, just like in the active therapy, you want to know what a person's history is as it unfolds. You with me? As it life, because history and actuality go step by step, right?
Gives the context.
It gives context in the immediacy of the moment. So without context, you may think Dzogchen means the same thing as the 8th century as it meant in the 11th century, as it meant in the... And it doesn't. You with me? And you may think Dzogchen taught by a Kagyu master is the same Dzogchen taught by a Nyingma master. And it's not necessarily at all. A Kagyu master would not be giving you Treiko and Togo exercises. You with me? They'll be teaching you a lot about Dzogchen. And Mahamudra, they're teaching you something. You will not learn Mahamudra from a Nyingma master like you will learn it from a Kagyu master. So one of the reasons we wanted to enter into Kagyu tradition was to learn more about the Mahamudra teachings. You with me? In an authentic, had an authentic master. You with me? And this way we learn different things, and then we make our own soup. Because ultimately, even if you believe whatever one person tells you, you are still making your own soup. Or you're making someone else's soup, which is not your soup, and it's not going to have any power unless it's your own soup. A-okay?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Hasta la vista. I had a wonderful year. I like this year. This is one of the most fun years for me with everybody, because everybody has been working here, and the light is getting better and better. One time, Lama Wanderer said this to me one time, and when a teacher, a great yogi, says this, you never know what to tell you have to take it, because they're always tricksters. A great yogi is a trickster. They just are. And he said, well, what do you guys do here? He'd come here many. Oh, well, we hold awareness together. That's what we do. And he said, that's really good, he says. And he says, you know, as a group, the group will be realized together. And he told me that. Now, do I actually believe that? Not really. You with me? I don't necessarily believe things. I do hold on. I do experience stuff. And so that would hope that can come into being. But I feel we're moving and unfolding in the direct direction. You with me? But also I trust Lama Wanderer a lot. But trusting a person is different than actually making it a thing in your mind. You with me? As soon as you make a thing in your mind, it's not real anymore. You with me? Great. So I say that to you amongst ourselves. There's a desire, and there's a lot of support we have, like from Lama Wanderer and Soul Pema in these different places. Thank you, guys. See you later, and hasta la vista, baby.
take that Direct, no, yes. He said instead of when they look at somebody, they can reverse it. When the Buddhist was taking it, of the karma by saying that it really is the direct.
That's why Lama, what is his name? Gunther would say that Gnostic Christians influenced Thomas and Lama. He knows this stuff. And as a character,
Oh yeah, I love this guy.
independent,
Great energy.
and they're having some correspondence with then his other friend who I also suffered from, the other person, Duckworth, was a temple. And also they work together. And that's the stuff. So they're going to be coming here. The other Lama's company, you have this other mixture of companies. So Duckworth is a temple. So they have this thing moving around. And that's why we're on the way around. Still my teachers, I like that, opening the frame. That works perfectly. And we know it, which I do. It cools the dog with stuff. It cools the catechism. And we don't do catechism.
Then we don't get a catechism. I always stuck with him over the years because we would get sick of these. That's what I did. That's my favorite mantra. Finding the dolphin and
Take it
up as we go.
I think it's a good idea to do that. Yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. That's a good one. I think he's talking about I like making comments. I stop it and make comments. Like, I like the comments I make keep trying to fashion what he's saying. I start saying like 2001, 2002. And then I let you know tomorrow. Yes. I let me just come and then he can just put this here and just let it run. And then we get a new two song and that runs now.
You set up some kind of schedule for when people
Wait for him, we come out and wait for him to watch the clip. Because my Saturdays are so booked, especially in the summer.
No, we can do this, but I want to do I'll start it in September when all the I want people to be there on Saturday. You have to be there, and then we'll set up you can listen to another time. And we're going to synopsis the times that we want to watch.
I love being there.